London, 94.9 FM. I'm Jumoke Fashla, 8:22. Now, on the 23rd of February last year, a London couple made English legal history by becoming the first to get married in a Church of Scientology chapel. Louisa Hodkin and Alexandro Calcioliinterview, I knew I was going to do that wrong, from East Grinstead were allowed to marry after a Supreme Court ruling that the Scientology chapel in Blackfriars was a place of meeting for religious worship. The judge decided that worshipping a god, which Scientologists do not, is not essential to religion. Ministers, including the Conservative MP for Brentwood and Ongar, Eric Pickles, raised concerns about the ruling's implications on the tax exemption registered religions that they're eligible for. Louisa and Alexandro are here now. Good morning to both of you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning.
Do you want to come in? Louisa, so laid back. I love the fact that you're so comfortable that you're just like, literally, it was like, I'm on my sofa at home. That's the way it should be. Great to have you in this year. Congratulations on the wedding. Congratulations on the baby.
Thank you.
Leading up to that point, I mean, how did you feel when the Supreme Court did rule that you could be married in the chapel?
I mean, it was a fantastic feeling because it was a 5-year battle, and it was just like finally it was like we weren't being discriminated, and we actually had the yes, and we can actually get married.
and were there points where you thought this is never going to happen? I mean, 5 years is a long time to battle for, something that you could have walked down the road and gone, all right, just marry us in the registry office kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it did feel like that. I'd gotten my wedding dress. I had different things planned because obviously I didn't know when the ruling would come or anything, when we'd get a yes. So it was like we were trying to prepare, but at the same time not.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that we always had some faith that justice would prevail in the end.
Right.
We just needed to keep going, and eventually we knew we would get there.
Yeah. Why was it so important to you, though?
Because we both are religious people, and I mean, you mentioned at the beginning that Scientologists don't worship God. We actually do.
Okay.
And we are actually very religious in that way, and we wanted to sanctify our marriage in our own chapel like any other religion would.
When you say you worship God, herein comes the theology that we need to understand. What exactly is God to Scientologists?
I mean, there's a prevailing concept in Scientology, which is that whatever is true for you is true. So the same applies in that sense to the Supreme Being. It's your concept of God it's whatever you want it to be. So if a Christian or a Muslim came to Scientology and wanted to practice Scientology, they could, because they don't need to change their definition of God.
So you're saying you could be a Muslim or a Christian and be a Scientologist?
You could.
And do you know any people who practice such things?
My own grandparents practice Judaism, and they're also Scientologists.
Right, and there is no conflict. But if I came along and said, I believe this pencil or pen is God, Scientology wouldn't say to me, that's incorrect.
The idea in Scientology is that as you progress, the nature and concept of God and yourself becomes more apparent and real to you. So you understand it becomes greater and greater.
So, but wouldn't that lead you away from where your original position was and lead you more towards an embracing of the Scientology notion of God?
No, because the Scientology notion of God is what is true for you as God.
Right.
So if you're quite happy with your original notion, by all means, stick with it.
Then why would I need Scientology?
Because Scientology is an applied religious philosophy, so it gives you a lot of things that you can use in your day-to-day life.
Right.
To just help you get on with life better,
right.
As well as giving you a greater understanding of yourself and, as I said, God.
So help me here, because both of you are obviously both committed Scientologists, and this idea of having to cleanse myself, what does that mean? I mean, even the word makes me go, I don't quite understand it. So help me. What does it actually mean?
Do you mean in terms of the purification?
Yeah.
The idea is that as we go through life, we pick up toxins from the environment, from food. People take drugs, alcohol, etc. And it was found that the path to greater spiritual knowledge and understanding can sometimes be hindered by that because you're too bogged down in the body.
Okay.
So you get rid of the toxins.
How?
Feel better. Because there has to be a flow let's say, between the spirit and the body.
Yeah.
And
How do you get rid of them?
How do you get rid of them?
oh, how do you get rid of it? Sorry.
Yeah.
Thought we were getting very
Yeah,
deep and
no,
theological there.
Oh, I can, but I'm just curious. How do you?
You sweat it out. These
You
things,
sweat it out, like you go into like a tent and
a
sweat.
sauna.
Are you serious?
You literally go into a sauna and
Really?
you sweat and it comes out of the fatty tissues.
It's a specific program.
Right.
It's not just you literally go into a sauna.
Yeah.
No, I just. Do you know what? I would be there. I'd be like, sauna, here we come. That would be me. I mean, there are rituals around within Scientology, some known and some unknown. I mean, I didn't know this thing about the sweat room or whatever it's called, the process. There's one that is, and I really want to understand whether this is true or not. So excuse, Louisa, my sort of curiosity. You've just had a baby.
Yeah.
Is it true that if you have a baby and a Scientologist as a woman, you have a silent birth?
It's not true that you have to have a silent birth. Like, it's up to you.
Right.
The concept is that it's meant to just be a calm environment and as quiet as possible. That would be the ideal thing. But I made noises. I know I did.
But did you make like I would make, which would be
I'm sure
loud
I did.
yelling, telling your partner that I don't know what we were thinking at the time kind of noises? Or did you make the quiet for like...
No, I definitely didn't. Obviously, it's a personal thing, and it's what obviously everyone
but
goes
is
through it
it the
differently.
preferred thing is that you have you give birth silently? Is this correct?
Well, again, it's totally up to you. There's nothing forced. There's nothing like what you have to have that.
Also, silent is a misnomer.
Yeah,
Right.
Like, it's meant to be a quiet environment, and really the stress...
what's the purpose? Why does it?
Well, I think most mothers would agree they don't want people screaming and shouting around them whilst going through something as painful as that.
The mother.
But the stress is on the people around the mother, not the mother.
not the mother.
herself.
I made a lot of noise. Believe me.
Oh, you made.
She was
I did.
screaming and shouting. I just stood and held her hand.
Yeah.
Good on you, girl. I was going to say, that would be very hard for me not to at least make some sort of noise. I mean, this is, now that you're at this position, you were being hailed as the sort of Scientology babies, and, you are the glowing faces of Scientology. How has your life changed? I mean, have people been, because you have now become more obviously people becoming more aware that you are Scientologists than you were before, presumably. Has life changed in some ways?
Not especially. I mean, I've noticed more people coming to the church.
Right.
Sort of noticing the name of it as they walk past and coming in to have a look, which anyone can do. But I think for us, we've had Scientologists congratulate us, obviously, and thank us for what we did.
Right.
But I mean, I've not been hounded down the streets or anything like that.
Well, that's a good thing. And on the wedding day, I mean, how different was the service? I mean, it was very different from a sort of, box standard Christian service. I mean, do you wear a white dress?
I wore a white dress.
You wear a white dress. I mean, what did you create the ceremony, or are there already structures?
Well, there are different ceremonies in the Church of Scientology, but we did create it how we wanted. We had, my sister sang. We had the prayer. Trying to remember it.
Does it feel that long ago? The fight was bigger in your memory than the actual wedding.
Well, no. I remember the wedding. It's just, it's a lovely memory to remember.
Okay, no, don't worry. I mean, fair enough. Listen, thanks, guys, for coming in this morning. Really appreciate it, and thanks for sharing your experiences with us, Louisa and Alexandra.